Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Shell Place. Welcome to McDonald Island Park for our 8th Here For You community engagement session. I'm Adam Hardiman. I'm with the Wood Buffalo Recovery Task Force. Today's presentation that we'll have at 4:30 as well as 6 o'clock will be on support in the community for the underinsured and the uninsured. So a very important topic, one that we certainly heard a lot from you as community members, as our residents, so we're very happy to be here, and we'll continue on every Thursday from 4 to 8 here at McDonald Island. This first presentation will be broadcast live, is being broadcast live via the municipality's Facebook page. We will take some questions after the presentation from those people, but of course the people in the room will have a first opportunity. We do ask you to go to the microphone if you can. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it is more beneficial for our residents watching at home so they can follow along and get the information as well. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our presenter. Actually, I'm not going to introduce our presenter first. I want to acknowledge some of our partner organizations who are here. Of course, we do have members from the municipality as well as the task force. We do have our chair of the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee, Jeanette Bankars, who is here. We also have Councillor Alan Vinney, who is also with the committee. As you know, he's with us as well. We have representatives tonight in the room from the United Way of Fort McMurray, the North Life Fellowship Baptist Church, the New Ensure Group, Wood Buffalo Food Bank, Wood Buffalo Housing Development Corporation, Red Cross, the Insurance Bureau of Canada, and a pair of municipal departments, Economic Development and Planning and Development. Jim Rogers knows just how important they are right now in what we're doing. And Jim, great to see you as well. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our presenter for this session from the Canadian Red Cross, our recovery manager, Mr. Matt Baden. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm reception and having us speak here tonight. I'm not used to really being on camera or usually public speaking. I'm more of the office type. So I hope that I can answer some of your questions tonight and give a brief outline of kind of what the Red Cross has done so far in Wood Buffalo, as well as what we're going to be doing over the next little while to help residents recover from the disaster. So like I said, my name is Matt Baden. I'm a recovery manager here in Fort McMurray. I'm originally based out of Calgary, but I'm up here helping out with our team on the ground. I'll have time for questions, I think, at the end of the presentation. And however, if you do want to talk with me privately or any one of my colleagues at the booth, please feel free to see us after the presentation, or you're also welcome to come down and visit us at the Hardin Street or Future Forward locations with one of our staff members. Perfect. Okay, so all of our disaster management programming is actually based on a case-by-case business provided by impacted individuals and families based on needs, right? We're a basic needs organization. Oftentimes we get questions in the communities, I heard that my neighbor received this from the Canadian Red Cross, why am I not entitled to the same thing? And really this is because it's based on the circumstances that that household is going through from disaster. We know that disasters, from our experiences, are a deeply, deeply personal thing to go through, as I'm sure that you're all very aware, and that's why we really try and tailor our supports to individuals and where they're at that moment. We act as an auxiliary to government, which is just kind of a word for saying that we really act in partnership. We don't duplicate assistance. We work in conjunction with government agencies and other programs, whether those be provincial, municipal, or some of our social profit partners in the community to deliver assistance to those who need it. We always work to restore and improve pre-disaster self-sufficiency. And then we'll also work to ensure that the safety and security of our not only our personnel, but everybody on the ground is accessing or their needs of safety and security are being met in the community. And we also acknowledge our Indigenous people's experiences and realities in disaster. Okay, so I think emergency response. So what happened in early May, right? Working to ensure that basic needs are met through shelter, food, water, and basic supplies, opening up shelters right away in Lac La Biche with our municipal partners, as well as in Edmonton, and then later on in Calgary and other areas of the province. providing comfort and care, and then very early on financial assistance for those who really need it for the basic needs such as medications, hotel stays in some circumstances, and other elements. And of course, our registration program, which I think most of you are familiar with, working to ensure that individuals that were impacted from the disaster are registered, and so that we know where they are and how they were impacted. Support upon reentry. So when Municipality of Wood Buffalo opened up again in early June, apologies for my timelines, this has all been kind of a blur for me as well this summer. It's providing providing financial support for families to help clean up the homes upon reentry to the city. This program, for those of you who don't know, is still ongoing. And if you have not received this assistance, you're more than welcome to come and see us at our Franklin Avenue location. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. Moving through recovery. So again, understanding that disasters are a deeply, deeply personal experience, and that recovery for some may take months or even years to go through. Certainly that's our experience with the 2013 Alberta floods as well, and the 2011 Slave Lake fires, is that the Red Cross will be continuing to work with families in the community for the long term. So exactly what does that mean? So programs like our support to small business. So some of you who are owners of small businesses in the community would have access to these types of support. I think, again, familiar with the business hotline, where there are some financial assistance available through the register, through the business hotline, and releasing programs later on in October for up to $20,000 in support for small businesses to help with things like uninsured losses, deductibles, equipment, property damage, and cleanup. Like I said, this program will be running hopefully by mid-October, and you can check our website for more information at redcross.ca, Alberta Fires Business. More importantly, how we support individual households through recovery, through provision of financial assistance for things like food, clothing are the obvious ones, personal services and healthcare. So we've been doing things like filling prescriptions for those that are uninsured or underinsured for specific types of medical prescriptions, replacement of glasses and dentures and things lost in the fire that are uninsured, medical aids, and other professional health services. Occupational support, so replacement of uniforms, work boots, other aids to help people return to work and start earning income again, as well as children's needs, so replacement of cribs, car seats, childcare. Our big program this month, of course, is helping folks children go back to school with our school supports. So I hope you've all accessed that. That program's still up and running. Tuition and basic school supplies. Housing assistance for homeowners. So for those of you that are out of your home paying rent in a new place, we can help with support for rental payments, which can include insurance, damage deposits and utility connections. We can also, if you are paying both rent and mortgage, we can pay for usually one or the other. However, this also includes a mortgage support, replacement of furniture, household goods, storage of belongings if that's what's going on in your situation right now, appliances. And probably our newest support avenue right now is cleanup and removal of debris for uninsured vulnerable homeowners. So if you do not have the means to actually clean up your property, the Red Cross can actually assist with this. So just a little bit more on debris removal. So it is for uninsured homeowners. We are partnering with Specs, same as the RMWB here, to provide this service. If you do need assistance with debris removal, you can come down to Future Forward. It's the office with the least line, I promise. So you'll be able to get in quickly to see a caseworker, because we know that date, that September 30th date is fast approaching. If you can, when you come with you, bring your Red Cross registration number as well as your real property report, and then we can get you set up with Specs as quickly as possible. Just a couple of things. When you come to the Red Cross office, if you are looking for support, if we can book you in for an appointment tonight, we'd be happy to do so. When you come down to see us, if you can bring things like mortgage documents or rental agreements, it just helps to speed up the process a little bit, so we don't have to have you wait. If you have not registered, if you can bring your proof of residency for Fort McMurray at the time of the fire, or in the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo at the time of the fire. Any kind of bills of statements that you're looking to have assistance with. And then we can, our caseworkers can do a needs assessment with you. So where to find us? So to book an appointment, our number is 1-888-553-5505. That call center is running every day, 6 days a week. Appointments, while I acknowledge that it is kind of a timely wait to get in, we are working to try and reduce those lines every day. We can help you get set up with an appointment here tonight. And our location right now is at 9816 Hardin Street in the basement. We are looking to move to serve the community a little bit better. We'll be going around the corner to Franklin Avenue, to a Franklin Avenue location sometime in October, which will provide us with a little bit more space so we can serve. For reentry, debris removal, and general inquiries, please feel free to visit us at 9717 Franklin Avenue, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. I should also add, if anybody is looking for, they have questions about assistance, they can always call our 188 number and be served by a call agent. Okay, that's pretty much my presentation. But if anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy.
Are you prepared to get help monthly for transportation?
Again, our assistance programs was based on level of need. So if you are experiencing like ongoing loss due to the disaster, you can come in and receive monthly support. But that, again, is on a case-by-case basis.
Guys are doing a good job.
Thank you.
My name is Enzo Velasquez. My question is, actually, right now I have a mortgage and I'm paying rent.
Yes.
My mortgage payment were deferred until December, so in December I need to start paying mortgage again. Also, my house was destroyed, it was part of the condominium, and the condo board is saying that rebuilding will take like 14 months. Mm-hmm. So I already have an appointment with the Red Cross. You guys call me, and you guys are going to help me out with my mortgage payment. My question is about for how long? Mm-hmm. Because the condominium is saying it's going to be 14 months, right, and I need to pay rent for those 14 months.
Right. Right. And just to clarify, so we have been doing 3 months of rental support usually right off the bat. However, if you do need ongoing support, what we would ask is that you come and see us every month or in a time that works for you, and then you can get ongoing assistance. Yes. No, we would never refuse somebody.
So if I understand that correctly, you're going to help him out with his rental to live and also pay his mortgage on his home?
No.
No, it would be one or the other usually, yeah. So again, on a case-by-case basis, so again, without looking into the situation, that's our normal practices that we would do likely one or the other.
I already got my lot cleaned up because nobody knew what was going on. Is there any help for that?
Yeah.
I'd say, against specs, I'd say $6,000.
Well, I'm very happy that you decided to take the initiative to do it. And if you'd like to come and chat with us after, we can get you set up with an appointment. We can look more into your case. Yeah. 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 For uninsured that have already taken the initiative to clean up their property, if you'd like to come and speak with us after, we can get you set up with an appointment.
So you said the debris removal assistance is only for uninsured, but what about for underinsured, or if they're not covering like full amounts and only a portion of it?
So again, that's why we would go into case-by-case basis. So if we could schedule an appointment with a caseworker, and we could go more into your situation and exactly what might not be covered and what is the financial gap that you're experiencing.
I did have like a phone appointment.
Okay.
But they basically said nothing.
Okay. Come and speak with us after, and we'll get you set up.
So first off, you guys are doing a great job. You guys have been helping us a lot. We lost our home in Beacon Hill house, no insurance at all. So the cleanup you guys have supported us with, which is fantastic. In the beginning, when we were engaging with Red Cross, they would say things like, oh, we don't know about that yet, or oh, we don't rebuild homes, or oh, we don't pay for cleanup, and there was all this uncertainty, and they really didn't have any answers, which is completely understandable, being that everything was so fresh. But now we're starting to see things coming like funding for cleanup and funding for furniture and funding for a bunch of other things. So with that being said, and maybe it's too early in the game still to ask this question, but is there going to be further funding when it comes to the reconstruction and rebuilding of homes? Will it be something in like 3 months' time, go get 3 quotes for your foundation and we'll cover you up to this much? And then once the foundation's done, go get 3 quotes for a new home and we'll fund you up to this much? Or is that still too early to be talking about that?
So I understand the frustration with some of the information or lack of information out there. And so what my answer is that we are currently working with our municipal and provincial partners to look at what kinds of solutions that we can make available to the uninsured in these cases. So just stay tuned and we'll have more information. Like I said, we'll be in the community for a long time helping with this recovery process. So just bear with us, yeah.
For sure.
Let's keep going, guys. Anyone else with a question for Mr. Baden? Oh, Jim. Now, there's no count. You see, you're smart, right? There's no council time limits here, right? So go right ahead.
In the case of, there are some people like neighbors that just have disappeared.
Yes.
And haven't been seen since the fire. And they're not going to be showing up to a meeting somewhere or whatever. What are their prospects of actually losing everything? And, just having it put on the taxes that they can't pay.
Well, I personally can't answer that question. That might be more for the municipality. But I can say is that, we are a national organization. And so if someone has left the RMWB and is in another location, they could visit their Red Cross, local Red Cross office. The other one would be to call the 188 number, and they can set them up.
But in the case that nobody is calling, that they really are in some distressed other state, and they're probably going to have this added, or possibly have it added onto their tax roll, and they won't be able to pay the taxes, and they'll just be going further into the disadvantaged and
Of course.
homeless poverty.
So I may have to defer to my colleagues at the municipality for that answer, but.
Well, Jim, it's an excellent question. I know that's something that's very much in discussion. It's a policy decision for council, so I can't speak for council, and I really can't speak for the committee either, but it's certainly something that everybody's very aware of. You make a very good point. Mm-hmm. So I think there's lots of ways that we can go, and you're right to identify that will be the typical process. Like if you had one house that was unfortunately destroyed in an incident, that could be typically what happens, but that'll be discussed at a certain level, and I know you'll be all over us to make a decision, so we're happy to see you every week and in these settings. It's really great to have your input. Any other questions out there for the Red Cross? I mistakenly referred you to as United Way when we were coming up. So Diane, you got that plug at least on that level. Any other questions? No questions are bad questions. If you have anything, go right ahead.
Thank you. And thank you for the good job. And you've touched all our lives in Fort McMurray, I must say. My question is, how do you help to prevent maybe subjectivity when somebody is reviewed, maybe 2 people are reviewed by 2 different people, and I believe your workers just use their discretion to say, okay, you can only get 1 month support, whereas if another person was lucky, you can get 3 months. It's kind of confusing to me. And some of the people, even though you are doing a very good job, but some of the people who receive phone calls are completely, they're not in tune with what we're going through here. They just talk to you anyhow. I was supposed to call back for something, and I'm like, I don't even want to call them. And then other people will tell me, no, you can get this. And so how do you follow up? Is there any way to evaluate? Because it's...
No, I understand what you're saying, and I apologize for your experience with the Red Cross. So what I would recommend is that if you ever have a dissatisfactory experience with the Red Cross, is to call that 188 number. I don't know if we can get it back up on the screen, but and talk about your situation, and we can get you either reevaluated or reassessed by a caseworker. I will say is that our program is based off of experiences of best practices in disaster recovery. So all cases are actually reviewed by not only the worker themselves, but the supervisor, and depending on the level of assistance that's being given. However, again, that doesn't mean that we get it right every single time. And if you do feel as though that we have missed a need, is that you can always come back in. Okay, welcome.
Okay, thanks for that, Matt. Thanks for all your questions, everyone. Are there any other questions from the audience? Okay, so we actually had no questions come in on Facebook as well. So thank you all very much for joining us for this first session. Matt will be back at 6 o'clock later this evening. As we mentioned, we have all the groups we mentioned off the top with us. We know that there are very individual needs, very particular needs, and that totally makes sense. So we're all here to help you. The other thing I'll remind everyone of is we are working very much with all these partners as the Recovery Committee and Task Force as a municipality. So they are set up at Pulse at 780-743-7000 or at pulse@rmwb.ca to take that initial query, because we know that it's an emotional time and a difficult time, and there's all sorts of things that you might be working through. If you can't find that information online for whatever reason or in your conversations with people, feel free to reach out to us first. And I know it's an extra step, but they can get you going in the right direction. So thank you very much. We'll be back at 6 o'clock. Please feel, we got a question over here.
Is there anybody here who wants to know a little bit more about the topic that was discussed last night about those that are uninsured or underinsured with regards to repairing and rebuilding their property? Is that why there's a few people? So what I can say is that, there's a very broad partnership. Things are just being decided and worked out, but what I can tell you is that we do have the Insure group, the NGO group, that are supporting those that are uninsured and underinsured with regards to repairing and standing homes and rebuilding burned homes. And so what they do is, and you can definitely talk to them, I encourage all of you to go and talk to them. What they do is they will bring volunteers that are experienced in disasters, and this is what they do. They travel the world, they travel Canada as a disaster happens. They were in Slave Lake, they were in High River, and they come and they help you build your home as a volunteer. So there's some support there. There's also a lot of in-kind supplies that are coming through. I know there's, I think it's the Cooperators in Saskatchewan is donating like 1,200 cans of paint. And American Standard is donating some plumbing supplies, those kind of things. So there will be coordination of in-kind building supplies. And I believe what my recommendation to all of you would be, if you have mortgages on your property, go to your bank and see what you can do. There may be a possibility that they can do some extension of funds to help you with your purchase of building supplies, which would really help in your rebuild, because the money has to come somewhere, and I don't think the Red Cross is going to pay for 100% of your wood and whatever else, drywall and things like that. So I recommend you do that. I also recommend that you go visit the Insure booth today and put yourself on the list for further information. So as details come out, you will be on the list for contact. Other than that, I think you just need to keep hope that there is help out there, and you're not alone, and there's a lot of people working to support you and to help you through this, and understand that nobody ever wants to be uninsured, but sometimes these things happen, and we get that. And so there's a lot of people working hard for you right now. So I'll take questions if you have questions.
What happens in the case where I've asked for some quotes from some of the contractors that have come to town? They've taken my application and they say, well, no, we don't want to deal with you.
So a contractor with respect to rebuilding your home, or? I don't have the answer to that specifically, but maybe we can talk after that. I'm not sure. So uninsured as well, is that it?
I was straight up from saying if I could just get a house up to lockup. But they say, well, that's not a big enough job for us. We don't want it.
So, you know, there may be some contractors out there that are thinking, you know, it's, you know, and we've all heard it, Fort McMoney, maybe I've heard quotes on some that are, you know, $650 a square foot. And so perhaps it may be an idea to do another home show. I think there's maybe one planned in October. November? So first week in November, it sounds like we'll have another YMM home show where we'll have builders, contractors there that you can talk to. I'm thinking maybe you were just talking to the wrong ones, because I know I've talked to some builders that want the business, local builders that are looking for the business. So,
do you have a list of contractors?
Who are reputable?
Yeah. To provide to the audience that's here?
The province website.
Yeah, so Sarah's saying that the province website, so Alberta, Service Alberta, and they're the ones as well that all of the builders need to be going through and making their declaration. So if your builder doesn't have a declaration and aren't approved to build in Alberta, because you need to have your new home warranty as well in place. So if your builder doesn't have that, they have to. They can't build a house without it. So I'm not sure if we can put that on the website or...
Absolutely. So, Jeanette, you make a very good point. That's a very good question. So, there's actually a provincial regulation in place where, in order to be a builder as part of this, you actually have to register, go through the process. So, all those builders are listed there on that website as an approved, ready to go builder in Alberta for this project, right? So, that's at the Alberta Builders website, but we can certainly look to make that information more accessible on the RMWB website as well, at least a link through. That's something we can look to do after this meeting. But you can always call Pulse as well. I know they're linked into that information. So
not everybody is computer literate or have access to computers. So phone numbers is a great source for a lot of folks.
you can always call the Pulse line, 780-743-7000, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Doesn't mean they'll always have the specific answer you need right at that moment, but that gets us in our system, it gets us in our inventory, and we're always looking to improve and make sure that we're there for you guys. So that's another option, but I think that's a great point. Make that, you know, that's something that will certainly come out in the YMM Home Show that we held, or the Economic Development Department held. I think it was back, how long ago was that? Was that August? Was that September? I don't even remember. August, I think. It was a very good, valuable tool. It was trade show style, was here at Mac Island. So if they're looking to do another one in November, I think it'll be very valuable.
I think we have handouts as well. I know Service Alberta was at the Here For You session last week. They're just not here today, but I'm quite sure they left us handouts. So if you want to go to the RMWB table, I think they may have some there. If not, we can definitely get them. Like they have tips on getting a contractor, the whole process with doing the declaration, all of that kind of stuff. So good questions for you to be asking yourself and your contractors when you look to hire. At the RMWB, yeah. Oh, no, I'm with the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee.
Yes, absolutely. I'm with the municipality. We have our planning and development department here. We have economic development as well. And a number of our staff, these staff are with the municipality. So and we have, I believe that Councillor McGrath has come in, Councillor Germain, since we started talking, Councillor Vinny is here as well. They're all in the Wood Buffalo Recovery Committee. A number of municipal staff. We have even our fire marshal has just come in, Nick Brenner. So there's probably 25 to 30 municipal staff here tonight. So we have a couple booths, but we're circulating throughout the room.
Well, I'd like to express something, and I think a lot of people would feel the same way as I do, but I'm not speaking for everybody, I'm speaking for myself. The day of the fire, I listened to the conference from 11 o'clock a.m. to 11:26 when you ended. And each time the chief spoke, I kept saying to the radio, sitting in the car like a fool, and saying, well, what is the evacuation plan? What is the evacuation plan? And there was nothing. And then Mr. Darby says, to tell you the truth, we don't know the size of this fire. So I looked at the radio and said, well, then what the hell is the evacuation plan? But there was none. And it really upset me because we are sitting on oil sands, and fires here cannot be easily put out. And you knew that weekend there was 4 fires around this region. The first one starting in Parson Creek and then Terra Nova and then the surrounding areas. And yet still, school still happened. And when school teachers went out and looked around their surroundings and saw the flame right outside their school, then they made the action plan themselves to evacuate. And I think that if you would have did something legitimate that weekend, we wouldn't be in this predicament. And the media knew more than your constituents because the amount of media that was here was totally outstanding. And that's my expression.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that. We do have a question that just came in online, and it's from Stacy, so I want to make sure that we are including them as well. She's asking, what happens to those that commute and haven't had a chance to clean up their property? So I don't know who's the best one in the audience to answer that question. So what happens to those that commute and haven't had a chance to clean up their property? So I guess I can take an initial stab at it. I'm not sure if we have anyone. Yeah, I mean, I think the answer would be, and I don't mean to be, I wish Stacy was here face to face, so I guess my whole online strategy's fallen apart, but the same processes would apply, so we ask them to immediately, if there's any issues in the permitting process, to reach out to us right away so we can help facilitate that. So Stacy, if you're out there, give us a call, 780-743-7000. I know you're on Facebook right now, and we'll make sure that we're answering your question and facilitate that process.
For the lady, what was the list that you said to get on?
The list, so if you're uninsured or underinsured, what I would do is talk to your bank if you think you don't have enough money to do your rebuild or your cleanup, see what money is available there. Definitely go to the insure table, that's just behind this curtain, and get on the list if you need support in rebuilding your home or cleaning up your home, repairing your home.
Okay.
The other list was, are you a builder or?
No, I've lost an uninsured home, but
okay. So
these people can't help me because it's not my primary residence.
So at this point, there, like I said earlier, there is a group of social profit organizations, of volunteers, and municipal staff. The Red Cross is part of that table as well, looking to build a program for those that are uninsured to help you rebuild your home. Right? And so what I would do, the process right now is to get on the list at the insure table here, the NGO group that is bringing the volunteers to rebuild and repair, so that we can get information to you as it comes out. So at this point, we're building the list of who needs the help.
Okay, that was exactly the question, which list you were talking about.
From Carol as well, she's asking, how can I get my name on the insure list? So that's exactly it. So they are here tonight. I'm sure they'll be developing more communications opportunities, but you can always call a pulse line, like I said, 780-743-7000. The staff, they have all the information. They're ready to take the call on behalf of this new, I guess, social profit group that's comprised of a number of organizations, like Jeanette said. So give them a call. They're ready to go. So we got a question here from Kelly, and I hope any help for the equine community, so horses, right? Is that so? I'm showing my lack of knowledge of a Horse and Hound magazine. But any help for equine, right? I think that's horses. So yeah, reach out to us. Again, the pulse line. That's a good question for them. They were able to direct that. Certainly, we've been working with the Horse Club for a number of years, and we know there's some issues, concerns, some projects we're working on. So we've been in close collaboration with them, and we'll continue to be. But yeah, I think we'll actually reach out to Kelly after this and find out a little bit more, Kelly, about what your question is, so that we can delve a little deeper and help you out. Okay, guys, if we have no more questions, I thank you so much for joining us for this first session. Like I said, we'll be back at 6 o'clock for the exact same presentation. We're here every week, 4 to 8 at Shell Place. So please join us. Tell your friends, tell your colleagues, tell your coworkers. Once again, thank you very much. We'll be back at 6 o'clock. Feel free to talk to our staff and go to the booth that you might need to answer your question. Thank you.